Coming up, bummed that there are no air shows? Well, think again, they're going online.
3 generations of women pilots across one sky lane.
And getting Grandma a copy of her long-lost pilot certificates.
It's so exciting!
AOPA Live this week begins in just a moment.
Your plane is a valuable tool. With the Genesis Aerosystems S-Tech 3100 digital autopilot, you can rest assured you will arrive safely to your destination. The 3100 is the industry's most advanced autopilot for single and twin-engine aircraft, providing exceptional workload reduction, safety-enhancing capabilities such as straight and level mode and speed protection. To learn more, visit our website today.
This is AOPA Live This Week with Tom Haines and Alyssa Cobb.
The effects of the COVID-19 pandemic continue to impact aviation. Now, the FAA is adjusting the hours of more than 100 air traffic control facilities.
That's right, Tom. Now AOPA is making sure your voice is heard and that general aviation is not negatively impacted by the changes. So here's what's happening. Traffic is down system-wide, and that's leading the FAA to shorten hours at dozens of facilities. Now, Class Charlie and Delta airports are what's being affected by the change. And AOPA wants to make sure pilots are informed about the moves and that you know, for example, when an airport may be reverted back to Echo or Golf, or if a nav aid is unmonitored. That could affect its ability to be used as an IFR alternate. So now, more than ever, make sure you check NOTAMs before you fly. That's where you're going to learn about any ATC changes that could affect your flight.
That's right, and it's critical technology for just about everybody. Without it, the power grid would fail, ATMs wouldn't work, cell phone network would collapse. Everybody from AOPA to the Departments of Transportation, Defense, Homeland Security said, hey, don't mess with it. But the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, did just that on Monday. Despite almost universal opposition from government and industry, the FCC approved Legato Network's application to use radio spectrum right next to the GPS band. Legato, previously known as Light Squared, wants to establish a 5G network, but its network poses the very real risk of interfering with GPS signals.
So that's the potential here is that signal could overpower GPS signals, satellite signals, and we could lose that functionality.
The GPS signal is very weak, literally down in the noise. So your GPS receiver is listening for a whisper in a crowd. But if somebody standing next to you is shouting, well, guess what? You'll never hear the whisper. The land-based Legato transmitters might very well be shouting at nearby GPS receivers, struggling to hear the whisper. The large coalition, including AOPA, will continue to do everything necessary to protect GPS.
The next steps, we are very active with other industry coalitions, national security groups to discuss what the best next step is for us all to come and be aligned. That includes potential legislation and going to the Hill. We're also discussing a petition for reconsideration with the FCC and even potentially a lawsuit. So we remain involved in this issue because aviation GPS, aviation satellite communications, aviation weather, all of these things are critical and need to be protected.
So Alyssa, this is like round 3 of this effort by somebody, Light Squared. Then they went bankrupt after they got shut down and then came back as Legato a couple of years ago. We managed to get it shut down again, and now they're back. And this time they seem to be using the COVID-19 pandemic as a reason to dial up what they say is the importance of the 5G network and for future kinds of events, better tracking of people for that's kind of thing, which 5G can do. But still, there's a lot of risk out there to the GPS signal. They have made some adjustments to the technology to lower the power of the signal and to tighten up the frequency tolerance, that sort of thing. Still a lot of concern, though, about experts about what this might do to certain GPS receivers.
Right, yeah, it's just the story that will not end. It's been years going on that we've been covering it and working on it here at AOPA.
Yeah.
Well, some great news for pilots with diabetes. The FAA has approved the first medical certificates for professional pilots who depend on insulin to control their diabetes. The medicals are approved under a special issuance authorization. Now, the policy has been years in the making, and it actually builds on the success of a similar policy for private pilots that AOPA supported. You can read more about it on our website.
Hey, do you plan your flights on a desktop computer? I know I do sometimes. It's really convenient. And we have a new tool for you. AOPA has long offered an online flight planner as a member benefit. And last month, we announced that the legacy AOPA flight planner would be retired. The Jeppesen map engine powering the planner is obsolete, and the company says it will no longer support it. So meanwhile, the AOPA IT team has been hard at work to find a replacement flight planner, and now it's here.
So we've partnered with iFlight Planner. It's a web-based product, similar to what our legacy flight planner was. Only I think AOPA members are going to be very happy with this product because it introduces some features that we've been asked for a lot over the years. Number one, we have sectional charts. We've got on-screen AirMets and SIGMETs with on-screen radar and a very simplified and easy-to-use interface. So I think people are going to be very happy with it overall.
AOPA members can access the new flight planner at the URL there on your screen. Using this link will verify free access for AOPA members for this special version of the flight planner. And flight plans and profiles previously set up under the legacy flight planner will be preloaded into iFlight Planner. If you want to learn more about how to use the new flight planner, you can find a series of video tutorials on the AOPA Live YouTube channel.
Yeah, I've been a big user of AOPA's flight planners too, Tom, way back from when it was the real-time flight planner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, over a decade ago. And so I'm excited that we're able to offer this tool as well. So
yeah, it's a really nice modern user interface, and it's very fast. I got to tell you, I've used it a couple of times in the last couple of weeks, and it really brings up charts and all that sort of thing very quickly. So it's very efficient.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I know as soon as I'm able to fly again, I'm probably going to try out that flight planner, and I'm sure many of you will as well. But some lucky folks have been able to still fly during the crisis, or at least during early parts of it. And we heard from Rich Wellner in Mexico about his flight.
Yeah, it was a good flight. We decided to go do some flying. It was in the early part of the quarantine, and it was with two of the guys that I was quarantined with. So we decided just to get some fresh air and headed out to see the coast and check out what was going on out there. But I mean, really the motivation was just to get out of the house because we were already getting a little stir crazy. The area that we're in is down in the south of Mexico in the state of Oaxaca, and me and my quarantine mates live in the outskirts of Huatulco. So Huatulco is about 20 minutes, half an hour by air from Puerto Escondido, and it's right along really one of the most beautiful coastlines I've ever been to in the world. So what's neat around here is that the mountains from the central highlands of Mexico come all the way down through Mexico and then kind of plunge into the ocean here. So you get these big craggy rocks going out and just bay after bay after bay, sometimes with beautiful little beaches that nobody knows about, sometimes with just rocks with the waves crashing up against them. It's just beautiful down here.
Thanks to Rich and others who have sent in their clips. If you have a video from a recent flight, send it to the address on your screen. Meanwhile, you have probably heard a lot of questions about where a lot of things stand in general aviation. Wednesday night, the boss answered a lot of those questions during a live stream on YouTube.
And what's AOPA doing and what's happening with a lot of the renewals?
As you might have guessed, there's a long list of items that we need extensions for. As you mentioned, a few BFRs, annuals on aircraft, medicals, the list goes on. And as I heard earlier today, we believe that the SFAR, special rule, will be out hopefully in the next week or so. We believe at this point in time that everything that makes sense will have extensions to it.
You can find a recorded version of that live stream on our YouTube channel.
Many of us are missing the familiar whir of aerobatic airplanes and the roar of jets. Hey, it's spring, which usually means the kickoff for the air show season, but in spite of the COVID-19 crisis, air shows are still happening. They've just moved online. The Chef Pitts online air show streamed live on Airshow 360 last weekend. The 2.5-hour air show features quite a few acts. You can find a replay of it on the Airshow 360 YouTube channel. And folks are still talking about the 3-day socially distant air show, featuring the world's top jet teams and expert commentary by the hosts of the Show Center podcast. The event streamed on live Airshow TV Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Shows raising money for the ICAS Foundation to benefit airshow performers and support staff who are out of work due to the crisis.
Hello everybody, my name is Lieutenant Colonel John Caldwell, Thunderbird 1. We hope you're staying safe and healthy out there, and we are excited to be a part of this socially distant air show.
You can catch a replay of each day on the live Airshow TV Facebook and YouTube pages. And meanwhile, Sun and Fun is announcing a similar event. Details not out yet at the time we tape this, but check their social media pages starting on Friday. Coming up, 3 generations of women, 1 Cessna 182.
And getting a grandma another copy of her long-lost certificate.
Aaron, I'm so excited.
AOPA Live This Week continues.
Purchasing your own aircraft is an exciting experience. AOPA Finance simplifies the process, saving you money with lower interest rates and hassle-free loans, so you get into your new aircraft sooner. AOPA Finance, the right approach to buying an aircraft.
Welcome back. As the weeks roll on in the COVID-19 crisis, general aviation continues to serve the public and communities around the country. Across the southeast United States, test samples are being expedited by airplane. The group Angel Flight Soars is using GA to get test specimens from where they were taken to labs for processing. The group has partnerships with health centers and labs across the region. Well, we are getting some terrible details about the 2017 crash that killed Baseball Hall of Famer Roy Halladay. They aren't flattering to him or his decision-making. According to the NTSB, he had a whole cocktail of drugs in his system, none of which have been disclosed on his recent medical application. Recorded data, cell phone video, and eyewitnesses' accounts show he was performing abrupt maneuvers at very low level before impacting the water off the coast of Tampa. You can find more on our website.
New leadership at the Bob Hoover Legacy Foundation. Vince Mickens is the new executive director there. He's an experienced aviation, media, and public relations professional with a long track record, including tenure here at AOPA a decade ago. Most recently, Vince organized the 100th birthday celebration for Tuskegee Airman Brigadier General Charles E. McGee. Mickens will oversee growing awareness of the foundation. Bob Hoover created the organization just before his death. Hey, with the stay-at-home orders keeping many around the country from going out, usually crowded parts of the world are seemingly kind of empty right now. And that leaves an opportunity to capture some interesting aerial photography of shut-down places. These images from California show empty parking lots, train stations full of parked trains, and usually gridlocked highways almost empty. Hey, and look at how clear the air is. You can find more shots of empty California on our websites.
Yeah, these photos were captured by the 111th Aerial Photography Squadron. The company is owned by a family with a multi-generational love for aviation. And we had a chance to capture the story of this family and their trusty Cessna 182.
My mother was Jan Perlich. In 1969, bought a brand new Cessna 182. And it has been in our family for 50 years. We use it 2 or 3 times a week in our business, but it also was a catalyst for doing so much in our lives. Of course, my mother was a pilot. I became a pilot. My brother is a pilot. I married a pilot. My daughter is a pilot. And our business is aerial photography. And it all happened because we have an airplane. Really didn't have an interest in flying, but my father was a manufacturer. He had his own corporate plane, which is a Beechcraft Queen Air. My mother always insisted on sitting next to the pilot. She wanted to learn how to land the airplane. After she learned how to land the plane and learned how to fly the plane, she thought, I want to really get my pilot's license. So she got her pilot's license, and my father bought her a cute little 150. And in 1969, he said, look, I'm going to buy you any airplane you want. Just go pick one out. And she picked out a Cessna 182 right from the factory. She picked out the color and the interior, and it was delivered directly from the factory. And from then on, my mother flew that airplane almost her entire life after that. When I married my husband Pat is an airline pilot. He's a fighter pilot. His last plane was an F-16. On our wedding day, she gave him the keys to the plane. We got into the business of aerial photography almost by accident. I had actually gotten fired from another job, didn't know what I was going to do with my life, and Pat suggested that we do aerial photography, which I thought was the stupidest idea I'd ever heard in my whole life. But he said, let's just give it a try. He said, I'll take the pretty pictures, you fly the airplane. And he gives me this beautiful turn around a house. First time I ever tried to take a picture, it was an epiphany that I knew that I'd be doing this the rest of my life. And the business is called the 111th Aerial Photography Squadron.
Oh, it's kind of something I was used to. I mean, I'd always have my friends, oh my gosh, your parents are pilots, like that's so cool. And it was kind of like, yeah. Or, oh, you're gonna go fly in a helicopter today, that's so cool. Yeah. I think at a young age, I didn't really think it was as cool, but now that I'm older and I can actually look back, you know, it was very cool.
One day she came to me and said she was ready to come to work for us. And I said, I'm not hiring right now. But she convinced me that she would be a tremendous asset to our company. And the real truth is she's a better photographer than I am. She's a better pilot than I am. I am just so thankful and grateful that she has come into the business and joined us and brought so much to it.
It's always just been the 182.
Grandma's 182.
Grandma's, and it's always going to be Grandma's 182.
I think she would have loved it today because there's just, you know, there's so many more women in aviation, so I think that she would think that's really cool. And I think that she is very happy if she's watching us from somewhere, happy that we're still flying her airplane. I feel like just having her airplane is just like kind of having her with us when we're flying, and I'm hoping that she gets to experience that with us.
You can read more about the family and their 182 in the May issue of AOPA Pilot Magazine. And finally this week, the feel-good story we all need. Barbara Gill earned her private pilot certificate back in the 60s, but she lost track of her certificate over the years. Her granddaughter is a student pilot and, get this, worked with the FAA and friends in the aviation community to help get another copy of it sent to her. The granddaughter wanted to give it to her in person, but due to the COVID-19, they did it over FaceTime.
Okay, I have not opened it. I'm trying.
Do you know what that is, though?
Let's get my trifocal set. It says, Barbara Jean Gill is a private pilot, and
That's
it's
your
got
pilot's
my
license.
date of issue and the certificate number, and it's got my eyes are brown, my hair's brown, my weight's 139. Boy, that was a long time ago. My height's 68. I'm a female. Aaron, I'm so excited.
That's your actual FAA airman certificate. Dad and I both have one too. That's your pilot's license.
Oh my word, it's true, and I really did pass all those tests. It's so exciting. You see it? Oh, cool.
Yeah. Gil's son is also a pilot, bridging the 3 generations of aviators in one family. Wow, Tom, what a special story. We have it on our website as well, and I just absolutely love it. What a
Yeah.
special thing for a granddaughter to do for a grandma.
Isn't that great? Really, really great that she's getting the opportunity to get that certificate after all those years, and a shiny new one at that. Yeah, good for them.
Yep, and she still flies just in the right seat with her son, and takes the controls from time to time. So that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, never too
Well,
old.
that's right. And once a pilot, always a pilot.
Always a pilot.
Well,
Yeah.
that's it for us this week. Thanks for hanging in there with us. We hope you're doing well during this difficult time.
And stay plugged in with us. Our AOPA team's still hard at work creating a lot of great content for you. Check our website, YouTube channel for lots more. We want to hear how you're doing, though. Email us at the address on your screen, and we'll see you next week right back here from home.
There are many important things to consider before purchasing an aircraft. Let the experts at Aerospace Reports help guide you through the process. We combine expert knowledge with our long-standing commitment to personalized customer service to perfect your transaction. Learn more at aerospacereports.com.